Man, it's been a while since I talked to myself while I rode my motorcycle. I'll just give you guys a little quick rundown of what's been going on. First off, today was a shitty day. I went to a funeral of one of the Marines that I served with. I went to Iraq with this Marine. He got shot by the cops on July 4th because his family called. They called, I don't know if they called 911 or if they called a hotline or something to get help because they thought he might have some problems and thought he might try and harm himself. So they called 911 or whatever, and instead of sending help for him, the cops came, and long story short, they ended up shooting him 4 times in the chest and killing him right in front of his mom, his grandma, nieces and nephews, his cousin. So I went to his funeral today. But anyways, he's up there, or he can guarding the streets of heaven now. But the other deal is I ended up taking yesterday and today off because of it. I was supposed to go pick up a friend that was going to be flying in from Alaska, and he flew in standby and was unable to make it here. He got stuck in Seattle because they overbooked the flight that he had a standby ticket for, so he was unable to make it. And he was really good friends with this Marine. But so instead of going and picking him up yesterday, I put my bike back together since he didn't make it. And the reason why my bike was apart again was because the guy before me and the guy before that melted the tail of the bike. And you know, I like the sleekness of the undertail exhaust. You know, it's all streamlined. But I was kind of iffy about buying a bike with an undertail exhaust at first because of, you know, I mean, I just didn't know if there was issues with them or what, but I mean, there shouldn't be if you do it properly. I mean, there shouldn't be any issues, obviously. They send them out from the factory like that. I'm gonna go drive right by my old house. I grew up in this neighborhood. I don't think I know anyone in here that lives here anymore. Yeah, I know that kid. That's the same freaking kid that lives there, his family. Let's see, this house with the Dodge Durango and the American flag, that's my old house right there. 11310 West Delano. I don't live there anymore. Haven't since I was like 11, I think. But so anyways, off topic. Again off topic, but man, I remember riding these bikes on on this street on my bicycle. Man, I used to ride all over this neighborhood when I was a kid. And now I'm back doing it as an adult on a bigger bike that goes faster. But yeah, so anyways, the guy before me apparently melted the tail because he cut the baffles out of it. He had a Yoshimura RS5 stainless exhaust, and he cut it down and he cut the baffles out of it. Did some hack job welding to put it back together, and apparently it got too hot and melted the tail, the wiring harness and everything of the bike. So the guy that I bought it from fixed that, got a new exhaust, which is the RS5 carbon that's on it now, and blah blah blah. Well, the problem with it was not the exhaust, not that he, well, it was that he installed it wrong. Instead of buying a, I think it's $35 for it, the silence, like there's a spacer and a there's a spacer and then a clamp that goes on the muffler, the slip-on onto the mid pipe. And instead of buying that actual piece to clamp it down, he took like radiator hose clamps, which aren't going to, there's not going to be enough force on a radiator hose clamp to like pinch metal down, you know, like it's not gonna get tight enough. It never will. It'll break before it does that. They're made to hold rubber hoses on, not metal exhaust. So every time if I was doing some spirited riding or you know, wheelie here and there or something, the exhaust would fall out of the mid pipe, and then all those hot fumes would blow straight up into the tail. And I rode out to my parents' house for the 4th of July. It wasn't that far of a ride, but I'd been messing around most of the way out there, so the exhaust fell off, and between that and I don't know, just the, like, this plastic under the tail had like been heated up enough but not melted yet. Well, it melted, and when I got to my parents' house it was all melted, and my tail light was melted. The actual rear fairing is melted, but it was salvageable. So I had to buy most of the plastic under the fairing, which wasn't that expensive. It was like $10 a piece, and I actually got 2 extra pieces because I bought the battery tray, which it didn't need, it didn't melt, and I got the part that goes right over the exhaust, which turns out I had one of those in my garage and the extra pieces that I got with the bike. I just didn't know it, so now I have an extra one. And then I also bought the rear piece, like the cargo area of the bike. I bought that piece. And I got a new taillight, which if you follow me on Instagram, I did a quick little video on the taillight. And I just gotta say, like, I bought one for my R6, and both of my tag brackets that I've bought and this taillight are from TST Industries. Man, they, like, seriously though, they make some good stuff at a really decent price. And it gets to me fast. They ship it to me from Florida, and like the shipping, I'll follow the shipping, and you know, it'll be like, say it's like gonna be 5 or 6 days away. It's every time it's to me in 2 days. Like the day I order it, no, it'll ship the next day, and then the next day, and then after that, so I guess 3 days. But I mean, from Florida and not having to pay a buttload for shipping, that's pretty good service right there. And this tail light has a it's got different settings for it, and it came with their little resistor to slow down your blinkers so it's not like blinking super fast. But yeah, it's got like settings on it. It's got 2 switches. One's for the brake light, so you can turn like the back off light on, which is like, it flashes like 4 times real fast, and then it goes solid. And then there's a switch for the blinker, so you either have solid yellow flash, or it will kind of like the Ford tail lights, it'll stagger across. But also, since I got the the proper clamp for the exhaust, the bike sounds a lot better. Like before, it had a little exhaust leak where exhaust was slipping, like it was slipping out of between where the yoke pipe hooks up to the mid pipe. So I had a little bit of an exhaust leak on it. And now, I mean, it sounds like way better just from silencing that exhaust leak on it. I hate freaking exhaust leaks. My Subaru has an exhaust, well, it has a freaking broken header, but I had some retard come up to me. He was like door-to-door salesman. He was like, "Oh, dude, oh man, you drive that Subaru, bro. That's freaking sweet, dude. That thing sounds mean, dude." And I was like, I kind of looked at him like, "Are you freaking retarded?" And I was like, it's a exhaust leak." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "It's an exhaust leak. I have an exhaust leak. It's not supposed to sound like that." And he's all like, "Oh, dude, you don't like the way it sounds?" I was like, "No, it's an exhaust leak." It's like, one, it's an exhaust leak that's freaking horrible, and two, it's before the turbo, so I'm losing efficiency and power because I have this massive exhaust leak that people stare at me from like a mile away. They all turn their heads and look, "What the hell is that noise? Freaking Reizer?" Like, no, I just have a massive exhaust leak. I hope you all had a awesome Independence Day. And that none of your buddies got shot by the cops.